Anyway, I'm going to talk about avoidant personality disorder in general, because I've heard often, extremely often, the attitude that men have it worse than women with avoidant personality disorder. And I take issue with that on 2 points. The issue that men have it worse, the reason that they say they have it worse is because they are socially burdened with basically being the one who pursues is the suitor. And also they have financial obligations to support the family, and so they have to get a job that pays well enough to support not only themselves but their family. And so that's why, because women don't have those pressures, that's why it's hard to be a man with avoidant personality disorder. So here's my issue. First of all, the financial thing. For me, unless you live in a society where they forbid women to work, which is, well, they're dwindling, thankfully, maybe not, depends on your attitude. Women do have the same financial burdens, and a lot of times they have worse financial burdens because they make less than men do the same jobs. And men can go in and say, hey, I have a family to support, I need to make X amount of dollars, and that usually flies. With a woman, if she went in and said, I'm a single mother, they might be turned down for a job, even though that's illegal where I live. That's reality. And as far as being the suitor, okay, I understand that for sure. I've never asked anybody up in my life. I've never been the person that made the first move in any way, shape, or form, ever. And so I get that pressure. I understand that, and I understand having to get over the avoidance in order to initiate a relationship, and that's pretty bad. Again, I'll grant you. But you're missing the flip side, which is with women. Well, if men are the suitors, women have to wait for the guy to pick them, and just imagine how that feels, that all these other women out there have been picked. They've been chosen. They are in relationships. They're married. They have boyfriends or whatever, and maybe they complain about them all the time, but anyway, just think of that. Think of how the rejection of, how did that person, she's so mean, she's so rotten, every kind of distasteful you can imagine, she's just hideous and horrible and gross, and how could she land somebody? And, you know, how horrible a person am I if when I'm doing the judging, we're not supposed to judge. We always judge. We hate being judged. We judge ourselves and we judge everybody else. And I think that people with avoidant personalities were maybe do it worse than the general populace. Although I don't generally hang out with the general populace, so I don't know. I'm projecting there and trying to beat myself up for it more, but I really do think that avoidant people are really judgmental of other people as well as themselves. And okay, so these other people, I believe, do not have the qualities I have, and yet they are in relationships and they're happy, and somebody takes care of them and somebody loves them, and not me. And how horrible must I be not, you know, if I've got all these qualities, and yet I'm still not in a relationship and nobody has picked me. How, you know, I'm rambling. It sort of is watching the cat. um, it's just I just hope that people can get that, feeling what it's like to be on the other side. You know, men will beat themselves up for not having the courage to ask somebody out, but women, every day and every second that they're not picked, that nobody's asked them out, it feels like a rejection over and over and over again. So you guys might be presuming a rejection, might get some rejections every once in a while, but women, when they're single and avoidant, feel like they're perpetually being rejected by everybody who's walking down the street. And how come nobody's going to bother to pick me as sympathetic? And I'm being really real here and honest, because I don't like to admit that even myself. I'm kind of scared of the response I'll get to that, because that is pathetic. Okay, granted, hugely pathetic. That's the way I think. And I don't consciously think it very often, but that's how it is. That's what it feels like when she was on the other foot. So I get both sides. Anyway, now my real point, now that I've unburdened myself here, is, again, this is the way we are if we have avoidant personalities. This is just how we are. The thing is, how do you deal with the knowledge of it? If you're a guy and you say, okay, well, I'm automatically, my life is horrible because I can't do this thing that a man is supposed to do. He's supposed to be a fast. He's supposed to be able to pursue a relationship. And if you feel like you can't, then that's it. There's nothing else that your life is going to be likely to be worth it. That's not good. That in any way that you use the way you are to beat yourself up and keep you down, just be aware of it, because that happens and it's not necessarily true. And you might not be able to save yourself from the past and all the people and how they treated you. Okay, that's the past. It's done. You can't fix it. You can't. But you can really confront how you're thinking about yourself and your life. And I feel really bad for myself and for other people, basically everybody, that use it to sort of keep themselves in a box. Because you can, once you've got the self-knowledge, you know this about yourself, you can use that to sort of empower yourself. But that's ridiculous. Okay, for example, then I got my diagnosis. I'm officially diagnosed with having avoidant personality. And obviously, I have, again, this is a judgment, and it's putting things on a sort of a timeline, well, that's not the word, but anyway, I guess I have a lesser version of it because I can make these videos. I prefer not to work, but I can hold a job as long as I remind myself that suicidal ideation is not actually being suicidal, and like knuckle it. I can hold a job, and some people can't, and I get that. Losing track again. But when I got my diagnosis, of course, at first I was petrified and horrified, and this has to be wrong, and oh my goodness, I have this mental illness diagnosis, and I am this lesser human being or whatever. And that was really scary. But the overriding emotion, once I got over that initial, and what lasted, was it was really a sense of relief. It was, I said I had a sense of, okay, there's a name for it. I'm not all alone. There are other people with this. It sucks for them. I'm really sorry for them, but I'm not unique. I'm not weird. Okay, I might be, but I'm not so weird. It's not. I'm not a completely defective human being. I'm not a mutant. This happens. There's a reason why it happens. It happens to people. It doesn't. It's not a genetic thing. Well, probably not a genetic thing that just occurs. It might be that you're predisposed to it, but you need to have something done to you in order to become avoidant. You aren't just born avoidant. You're made avoidant. And knowing that, it really did give me a sense of, okay, well, I'm not normal by any means, but I'm still within the boundary of, the range of normal human beings. I'm not completely out there. I'm not on the edge of the bell curve. There are lots of people, unfortunately, that have this. And I use that to give myself a break and to say, okay, this is what I can do. This is what I can't do. Stop trying to be normal and be who I am and just be. And ignore people who say you should do this and you should do that, which is really hard. But I have, to a degree, succeeded. I'm not 100% by any means. Yes, I wish I was in a relationship. I don't like them because people who don't know me think I've chosen to live a life by myself, and that I'm strong because of it. It's completely. But I say I'm so lucky I never got married because yay, that means I'm never gonna get divorced. But the reality is, it would be great if I had a partner. Okay, I'm gonna stop calling this. It's gonna make me upset. But back to what my initial thing was. I think that the gender experience of avoidant personality is different for each gender. I don't think that one has to worse than the other. And I don't think that societal norms of how you're supposed to act because you're this gender or the other, I don't think that you should limit yourself with that. Because we're already limited, because we're avoidant. I think you should try to ignore that. Try to ignore all the shoulds. You should be in this way. You should be doing this thing. And here's the checklist of what you're supposed to do by this age in life. Toss that. Because we are not normal. So the normal checklist does not apply. We are who we are. We should go with what we've got. And don't take... I keep pushing against the word limitation because it's only a limit when you're referencing other people that don't have avoidancy. When you're normal avoidant, act like a normal avoidant and ignore what you're supposed to do and forget about what your gender is supposed to do. Find a way to be who you are because other introverted people get relationships. It's not impossible. I talk to many people who are married. I myself have a child. Being tired of my relationship, I lived in Philadelphia and this part in Brooklyn, and that's 2 states away. Perfect avoidant relationship there. It was great. That was the perfect distance. I'm saying it's funny, but seriously, that was about as physically close as I could maintain an emotionally close relationship. Anyway, again, I digress. I guess I'm just a little annoyed by people that use their gender and gender norms and what you're supposed to do based on your gender to further limit it. And I encourage encourage people to try to ignore what are supposed to do because you are X gender or Y gender, and instead find a way to be as an avoidant person that is still in your comfort zone, but you can be happy and you can make choices and you're not just stuck with the dregs of whatever's left over because you're playing by their rules, not playing by your rules.